Wow!
What would happen if another corona experience came to the world? You remember the shutdown that happened globally. Pretty much every country was affected. What would happen if the corona came again? Or corona plus 2? Or something else happened that put the world financially at a standstill? What would happen if you lost your job or stream of income, or the government seized your assets? Well, hopefully the last one won't happen, ever. How would you handle it? How could you prepare? Take a minute, think about it. Leave us a message below. I'd really love to know.
Now, with living forward funds, it's extremely important that you set aside, some people say 3 months to 3 to 6 months. Some people say 6 to 9 months. I firmly say 2 years, actually. If you set aside a minimum of 1 year of living forward expenses, that will help insulate you against any happenings that may happen with the corona or a job loss or other things that might come into the financial scene that are a little disruptive. When you have a year's supply of income set aside to cover all of your expenses, then you have a financial buffer that can help you should something strange come about. Not only that, you'll have more time and a great feeling of financial security to develop another plan, to pivot, to do something different, okay? When the corona came and pretty much pimp smacked the world, many companies closed down. Many companies fired their employees, some pretty much immediately, all right? It was very strange because they were afraid of not having enough of payroll. Some didn't have enough of payroll, and they just released their employees like, boom, okay, we're done, out of here. And some of those employees were really good workers that spent their lives dedicated to the company. But why did the company have to let them go? Well, surprisingly, a lot of them most likely did not have living forward expenditures or money set aside to run things as usual for the next month or 2 months or year. Microsoft is one of the companies I heard that did very well because with that company and their company culture, I read that they set aside a year's worth of operational funds. A year, an entire year. And people at that company make a lot of money. And to think they had a year's worth of operational funds in cash. Okay? So when the corona came, they're like, eh. Well, one person was probably like, I told you so. I'm already ready for it. Are you? And we see what happened. So, with you, something I highly recommend is that you set up your living forward account, okay? Right now, let's start with something small. Let's start with just like 1 month. Set aside enough money for 1 month of living expenses, and then work up to 2, then 3, then ideally, you want to set aside 2 years. Because if you set aside 2 years of expenses in cash, that will give you an exceptionally broad moat, so to speak. And you will be able to not only relax, but be more creative and allow yourself to access your other higher functions to think, create, do, and be. All right? That being said, get started. Now, these are some action steps to assist you with your living forward funds. Here we go. 1. Designate a high yield savings account for these funds. You want this to be an account, what I call a 3-day account. 3-day accounts are basically accounts that, for whatever reason, even though it's 2022, it takes a little while for you to get the money out of them, all right? So when you want to transfer money from this account, it literally takes like 3 days to go from account A to account B, all right? That's a good thing, because the harder it is to take money out, the longer it'll stay there. And businesses know this. They know that if they make it easy for you to use your money, and easier for you to not even see your money, i.e. credit cards, you're going to spend it faster. Okay? So with this account, you want to use that kind of psychology against them or against the thing. Instead of you spending money more, now you're saving money more. Number 2, decide how many months you want to live forward by, okay? Just make a firm decision. Say if you're going to do a month, do a month. If you want to do 2 months, you want to do 3 months, do that. This is your life, okay? So do it the way you feel is best for you in your situation. So if you want to do 6 months, set it up. But whatever it is, dedicate this amount, dedicate this number, okay? Number 3, take some money, set it aside in that account today. All right. Now you can set aside money in this account every day, or you can get a little creative and you can be like, okay, I'm going to set aside maybe $100, $200, $300 in this account every month until I reach that point. Okay. And the cool thing about that is when you set aside a predicted amount, you can just do some basic math and figure out how long it takes you to get there. For example, if your monthly living expenses are $3,000 a month, and you set aside $300 a month, it'll take you 10 months to get to that 1 month of living forward financial freedom. All right. Now I know this might seem like a extremely long-term view, a long journey. However, it's been my experience, and I've seen from millionaire friends, other millionaires, and people that the ones that make it to the top have an extremely well-defined long-term view, okay? We're talking about playing chess now with your life, all right? We're playing chess with your life, so you need to think several steps ahead, okay? So now, remember, even though it looks like it's a long-distance kind of thing, setting up these habits now will make you financially stronger so you can handle pretty much almost anything that comes at you in the future because you have the discipline to handle it. And something I know about wealth, what I've learned is wealth comes at you. And when you set up these habits, it's going to come at you fast. However, if you don't have the discipline set aside, when that wealth comes, you might just be like, oh, YOLO! Come on, everybody, drinks on me. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, people like you and you might get certain interesting benefits. However, in the long term, easy come, easy go. All right, let's continue forward. Was it Mika?
Have you ever had a sudden change of heart? Things just go differently. All of a sudden, you realize that you offended someone who's affiliated with a very, very powerful familiar and you need to leave the country. Yes, the country, in the next 24 hours. Or maybe you met a lovely young lady or a guy or whatever the new pronouns are in country X, and you suddenly want to